Hello there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Funny week this week. Two Assassin's Creed decks, starting with Cleopatra today, who I'll talk about in a minute. Then Wednesday, Thursday, I put a poll up last week for two of the new Bloomburrow commanders, so I can look at starting them off. And the two winners, you'll see one Wednesday, you'll see one on Thursday, so bear that in mind. The other announcement before I go any further is for the next 2 weeks, after this week, there'll probably only be 3 videos. I'm going on holiday. I'm trying to get things done. So there may be a slight change into when the videos go up for the next couple of weeks after this week. So sorry about that, but hey, I need a holiday. So me and my wife are going away. Anyway, in the meantime, let's talk about Cleopatra. Exiled Pharaoh, 2 black and green for a 2/4 legendary creature human noble. And allies. At the beginning of each of your end steps, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target legendary creatures. And then betrayal. Whenever a legendary creature with counters on it dies, draw a card for each counter on it. You lose 2 life. Okay then, so basically we've got to look at a black-green legendary deck that can gain us a little bit of life as well. And that's how I've built Cleopatra today, because, you know, +1/+1 counter synergies in green are quite easy. Gaining life, not so easy in green and black, but here we go. This is what today's deck looks like. So, Cleopatra's obviously here. I am playing 42 creatures, which is a lot for one of my decks. I'm very aware of that, but I want to try and maximise the amount of green and black legends I had in the deck, and I've probably got a bit over the top, so you could probably trim a few of these. But we have got Bristling Bill for extra +1/+1s. Chevelle, Bane of Monsters. This one's nice because whenever a permanent opponent controls with a bounty counter on it dies, we gain 3 life and draw a card. So that does counteract some of the life lots from Cleopatra. Dina, Soul Steeper is also in. A cheap green-black drop that we can sacrifice another creature to pump her up, and whenever we gain life, our opponent loses 1 life. Each opponent loses 1 life, so that's quite nice. Finn the Fangbearer gives us an alternate win condition for our legendary stuff because, you know, poison counters for him. There's a few others with Death Touch, but it's mainly Finn. Pippin, Warden of Isengard, is actually quite important in this deck because of the 1 and tap to create a food token really does help counteract the life loss we lose through Cleopatra. Going from there, Arwen, Weaver of Hope, lets us have our creatures come in with +1/+1 counters on them, so we're already getting the card draw in. Chatterfang the Squirrel, we can, you know, whenever 1 or more tokens would be created, but it's the Forest Walk we're here for with Chatterfang. We may create some other tokens, so we may get some, well, we'll get some food tokens hopefully. So we'll get a few Squirrel tokens as well, which we can sack off to do a little bit of targeted removal. Drana, Liberator of Maokai, is also here. Flying First Strike puts up the +1/+1 counters. Enris has Death Touch, and when it attacks we can return a land card from our graveyard to the battlefield. Azuri, Renegade Leader, lets us regenerate our elves and then pump them up. We've got a few extra elves, so, you know, there's some things around. Fane is here as well to give us sacrificing some creatures to put +1/+1s, or sacrifice some creatures to get some treasure tokens if we need to. Glenara, Caller of the Wildwood, is just really here as mana ramp. No other reason for it being here. We have a few things that cost 6 or more, so we may get a little bit of benefit for the card draw. Glisser is here in all forms. So the Sunslayer's first. We can draw a card, lose a life, destroy an enchantment, or remove 3 counters from a permanent. The Traitor's here. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you can turn an artifact card from our graveyard to our hand. We have a few artifacts. Honest Rustine's here just to cut the cost down of our creature spells and then return something that's been killed off. Kadoma of the West Tree. Yeah. We have a fair few basics in the deck, and getting them out because all of our creatures are modified because of the counters is really useful. Marwyn the Nurturer is more ramping stuff and also something we can regenerate. Nissa, Resurgent Animist, another regeneration target, landfall triggers, you know the score. Reese the Exiled, whenever it attacks you can gain 1 life for each elf you control, another way of building up that life we need to make sure Cleopatra doesn't kill us. Rishgar, oh, I have no idea where that came from. Sorry about that. Rishgar's also here to chuck around some +1/+1 counters, and each creature you control that has a counter on it, you get to add a mana. Fun. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, draw cards, add mana, you know the score. Kazu, Ruthless Stalker, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to put another +1/+1 counter on it. Colville, the god of kinship, is also here. Choose a creature type. You can spend mana to, choose a creature type. You can just name human, whatever you want to, but you can spend the green mana if you need to cast the Ring of Crest as an easy early game bit of ramp. But if you control 3 or more legendary creatures, Colville gets +4/+2, so it becomes a 6/6 and has vigilance for 4 mana, which should be fairly easy to do with this deck. The Martyr, Primeval Warden, is also here. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it. When you do, recreate a 1/1 green sapling token, and you can sack them to pump up. Polychronus Unchained gives us a bit of targeted removal with the fight spell and then escaping. The World Eater's also here to do even more damage. Renata calls to hunt more +1/+1 counters. Tyver Bellicose gives all else Death Touch until the end of turn, and whenever the mana ability of this creature resolves, put a +1/+1 counter on it equal to the amount of mana that's generated this turn. So, bit of a thing, but maybe not. Umaru the Collector, I didn't want to play a pure creature deck, but I've chucked them in just instead of doing the companion slot, they're here in the main deck, just so we can lower the cost of our creatures down. Emissary Green gives us treasure tokens or +1/+1 counters, depending on what our opponents decide to do. Micho, Ruthless Survivor, get a couple of things. We don't have any equipment really to equip to her, but whenever she and 2 zombies attack, it gets indestructible, so that does get some damage through. Gladriel, the Gift Giver, food token, that's the only reason she's here for. Enters the battlefield or attacks, we get the food tokens again, another counteraction to Cleopatra's life loss. The other glitters here, and this one will be getting combat, we'll just have the incubate twice, thank you very much. Ikrashik, the Observer, very important in this deck. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Now, you are building the creatures up big with Cleopatra's allies ability, and you need to get the life gain on the go, so you don't die when all your creatures die and you lose 2 life for each counter on them, because you will have quite a few counters kicking around. Mazarek, the Kroll Death Priest, sacrifice whenever someone sacrifices a thing, you get to make it bigger. Obnixilus the Fallen, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player lose 3 life, and then you get 3/+1/+1, so a little bit of a landfall trigger for that one. Yeah, I'm playing a black deck, so Conrad's going to appear, sorry. Izoni, Centre of the Web, enters the battlefield or attacks, we can collect evidence for, get 2/1 black and green spider creature tokens with menace and reach, and then we can sacrifice 4 tokens, we get to surveil 2, then draw 2 cards and gain 2 life. A little bit more life gain comes from this version of Izoni. Again, with this one, we can sack creatures to gain a life. Might be a way around things if we haven't got too many +1/+1 counters on it, so bear that in mind. Kodama of the East Tree just lets us put more permanents in play when we play things. Surik and Goldclaw means that when we start getting there, our creatures all have haste with the +1/+1, which can upset people. And the biggest kind of life producer, if he stays on play, a Beladros Witherbloom, get those pest tokens and then let them die and gain a life for each time they die. Not much more to go really. It is a heavy creature deck, you can cut some out. There are some people probably won't agree with, I'm aware of that, but feel free to cut them out. But Planeswalker wise, just Nissa, just because I wanted the plant tokens, so I had some blockers, and hopefully get to the -7 so I can gain the life and draw the cards, whereas X is equal to the number of lands we control. Then, because we're playing so many legends, it made sense to have Kamal's Druidic Vow in here instead of Genesis Wave. I did toss up between the two, but I went with the Vow in the end. Lots of legendary permanent cards and everything else going to the graveyard, that's fine. Nature's Law, Rampant Growth, 3 visits, Cultivate and Kodoma's Reach, give us our ramp to find our basics. Elixir of Immortality, a bit of life gain as well as shuffling everything back in, and then some artifact ramp with Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Ozolith, the Shattered Spine, is here to double up on the +1/+1 counters, or cycle if we really need to draw a card. Sword of the Animus lets us get more basics out if we need to. Bontu's Monument and Ronus's Monument pump our creatures and let us go. Whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1 and we gain 1. Bontu's Monument probably a little bit more important than Ronus's Monument. I would like Ronus's Monument if it was +1/+1. And haste and trample, but it's +2/+2 and trample, so we can't complain too much. Skullport Nexus, obviously here, and the Great Henge, obviously here. Another way of getting life easily. A few little, obviously, things to think. Hardened Scales is obviously here. We're looking at +1/+1 counters to make sense. Vraska joins up, puts death touch counters on all our creatures we control, which is lovely. Obviously, if we have a certain little person in play, and we can go in for an alpha strike. Beyond that, this joins up thing does a nice little thing. Whenever a legendary creature you control deals combat damage to player, we get to draw cards, so we keep filling our hand up. Black market connections, treasure tokens live, card draw live, mercenary live. You know the score. This has come down so much. It's now 1.5 tickets on MTGO. Go back 8 months, I think it was kicking around about 20. Dropped immensely because of the Assassin's Creed reprint, which I'm really happy about. Branching Evolution doubles up on our +1/+1 counters. Play this when you think you're going to win, not before. Just so we're clear on that, because you will die to the Cleopatra, life lost from betrayal otherwise. And Journey to Eternity. Yeah, nice way of recycling our cards from the graveyard, or our creatures from the graveyard if we need to eventually. Just make sure you get it on a creature that can easily die. Land-wise, 9 forests, 9 swamps, so we can do all the lovely basic searching. Everything else, all sorts of the usual selection in here. If you do think you can win and you need to proliferate, you can proliferate with Khan's Bastion. That's the only reason it's here. We have got Cradle of Growth and Urborg Tomb of Yagamoth as well to make sure all our mana is smooth. But that's it for my take on Cleopatra. It kicked the week off. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I say, there are Assassin's Creed Legends I know I haven't covered. If there is anything you want me to cover, let me know. I'll get around to it as soon as I go back from holiday, because obviously the videos will be going up unless I haven't quite finished recording and get your comment in today. But tomorrow we'll be back with one more legendary from Assassin's Creed, then Bloomborough you'll see on Wednesday. Hit the subscribe button if you can, really appreciate it. If you want to see me play this deck, so there will be one more stream this week before I go on holiday. So you can come and see me play some of the decks out then. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you like, and then I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.